After our previous video and during our live stream, we've been asked for some more tips and tricks for SnowRunner. And you as the community has been very kind and submitted in a few as well. Try to compile them down to some of the best ones that we have right now. Hopefully you enjoy. Now, you do want to be careful if you're installing a bunch of different things on your truck, as it may push the beds, etc., too far back, and it's going to prevent you from hooking anything up to the pintle hitch. And as you can see here, anything that normally would have gone there is now blocked. Install add-ons or trailers, block trailer attachment. Most commonly, this happens with the crane, as you can see on this vehicle here, or let me recover this thing back. If you try to customize it, some of them are going to have a cabin protector. The cabin protector plus, let's say, a flatbed will push out too far back as well. And then again, you're going to end up in a situation where none of the trailers sitting out on the map or that you can buy are going to be able to connect to the pintle hitch because your flatbed or your sideboard bed are sticking out too far back behind the truck. You're going to be finding a lot of trailers sitting out on the map, and knowing what type of truck you need to pull those trailers around is going to be important, unless you want to drive out there and find it out the hard way. Most of the heavier trucks, that's essentially every truck out there with the exception of the Scouts, is going to have a pintle hitch on the back. That allows it to pull everything considered a trailer. As you can see here, just if it is a trailer that's pulled back behind. Now, if they are considered semi-trailers, semi-trailers are going to need the saddle. And you have two options of saddle. There's a high saddle and a low saddle. Low saddle is for almost every single semi-trailer out there, with the exception of the heavy-duty lowboy trailer that you can see right here. Also, if there is a mission, there are some mission that requires the high saddle, the saddle high, and if you look on that mission, it will say saddle high is required. When heading out on a job, and especially one with multiple deliveries in different locations, just a little bit of planning can go a long way. For example, in a setup where you're pulling a load behind a regular truck, like you can see right here, planning out to drop the first products off the trailer and then drop products off the truck to really go a long way. Getting the weight off of the truck and still having to pull that heavy trailer around is actually going to end up being modeled in the game and might make your life harder. While if you get the weight off of the trailer and you still got the weight on the truck pushing down on the axles, that sort of thing, it could help you traversing some of that worse terrain out there. You might even have a situation where you can empty the trailer, drop that off, and drive the truck without dragging the trailer around to come back and get the trailer later. So just spend that a little extra few seconds planning out the route you're going to go and how you are going to drop off that freight. As you progress in the game, you're going to end up at some maps that don't have gas stations and definitely don't have garages for you to recover your vehicle to. This is when pre-planning becomes even more important. You are more than likely going to want to head out with something that can traverse the terrain. And of course, the bigger the engines and heavier the vehicles that you're sending out there, the more fuel you're going to be using. So don't be afraid of picking up a scout trailer of fuel, dragging it with you out somewhere, and then staging it up as you go exploring the map. The worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to have to take that scout trailer back and sell it once you're done with what you've been working on. But it's a lot better doing it that way than potentially having to drive back to another map to find the gas, or even worse, recovering to a garage that might be, you know, an entire map and a half away, just so that you can refuel a vehicle that's gotten stuck out of nowhere. Even more important, once you start bringing in the heavier vehicles, you can always chase them around with the scout vehicle that has the fuel, so you can continue doing the work and not having to have all the brakes for refueling. One of the primary objectives of SnowRunner, of course, is to try to chuck you over on your side and leave you out there in the mud thinking about your life decisions. When I find myself in a situation where I think maybe SnowRunner is going to want to do that, I have utilized the side anchor, which simply is just putting the winch out to the side of something, get it all nice and tight, and then continue around the bend, anchored to the inside. Hopefully, with a little bit of luck, and the game is feeling like it today, you'll make it around this bend and not end up down there in the river. Or you can get stuck. It's not a good tip if I don't show you the other option that could definitely happen if you decide that anchoring is not something that you enjoy. The GPS said to turn left. You knew it was a bad idea, but today you didn't want to argue with technology. You took that turn, and here you are, stuck, churning up mud, nowhere to go. How are we going to get out of this situation? Well, of course, you have all your normal winching tips and tricks that you can do. Maybe you can even back out. But if you really just need to get out, well, you can always call a friend. That friend being yourself. Simply pull up another truck and chuck out that winch. The game is set up in such a way that when you are connected with a winch with another vehicle that is working, so it has to have fuel in it and it can't be broken. When you start driving, that other vehicle will also drive. Even though it doesn't have a driver, it will recognize what's going on and trying to pull itself loose or go with where the winch is pulling. Now you can use this in two ways. You can either be the front truck out here, control that and pull, use the winch, all of those things. Or if you actually go to the back truck, the other truck that is stuck, if you have the winch out to one of your own vehicles out front and you start driving, the game will still recognize what you're trying to do, and that vehicle will also start driving and pulling. It gives you an opportunity to go in two different directions and try to drag yourself out of where you are. Like here, for example, well, we're struggling a bit because we're in a truck that really doesn't have much juice or can pull through the mud. But if I were to go to the Fleet Star up in the front and get us connected, are we close enough? And get us connected up, I can direct this truck. I can go to some different places and I can use some of the juice of the truck, like diff lock, that sort of thing, and actually pull this other truck out. So there are many different solutions that you can go at it, but don't feel that just because you're stuck, you have to recover that truck and start over. There's always a solution to get you out of the mess. This works backwards too. If I had pulled up behind that trailer and tried to back this truck out, the truck would have known that it was being pulled backwards and it would have tried to help to go that way. After a long, hard day of work, nothing is quite as satisfying as sticking it to the man. And the best way and easiest way to do that, hit up your local trailer store. Buy yourself that trailer of fuel or repair products, whatever you need for your ailing and thirsty truck. And simply refuel. And you turn right back around, sell that trailer for a full refund. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something new. Please consider subscribing and hitting that like button, and we will catch you on the next one.